What if Santa's suit wasn't a symbol of joy, but of something much darker? Behind the red and white, there are shocking stories that you won't believe. In this video, we'll explore the strangest and most unsettling events where Santa played a role in something completely twisted. But before we dive in, some of the details in these stories are disturbing and may not be suitable for all audiences, so viewer discretion is strongly advised. As always, remember to hit the like button, share the video, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to stay up to date with the channel. Alright, let's dive into the video. Let's start with one of the darkest Christmas tales ever recorded. The Covina Massacre is one of the most shocking and tragic events ever tied to the holiday season. On Christmas Eve 2008, Bruce Jeffrey Pardo, a 45-year-old man from Covina, California, committed a brutal attack that shattered a festive celebration. Dressed as Santa Claus, he turned a joyful evening into an unthinkable nightmare. The horror unfolded at the home of Pardo's ex-wife, Sylvia Ortega Pardo. Around 25 guests, including children, were celebrating together. Laughter and holiday cheer filled the house. But then, Bruce arrived, dressed as Santa, carrying a package that concealed deadly weapons and a homemade flamethrower. When the door opened, the guests had no reason to suspect danger. What they thought would be a light-hearted holiday surprise quickly turned into chaos. Bruce pulled out his weapons and started shooting without warning. Screams filled the air as guests scrambled for safety. The attack didn't stop there. After opening fire, Bruce used his flamethrower to set the house ablaze. Flames engulfed the home within minutes, trapping those who couldn't escape. The fire destroyed everything, leaving only ashes and rubble behind. The aftermath was devastating. 9 lives were lost, including Sylvia and her parents. Many others were injured while trying to flee. Even the family's pet dog didn't survive the inferno. A holiday that was supposed to bring joy, instead, left behind heartbreak and horror. Authorities worked quickly to uncover Bruce's motives. His recent divorce from Sylvia had left him bitter and angry. The settlement had strained him financially, and he blamed Sylvia for his troubles. This mix of resentment and personal struggles pushed him to carry out the unthinkable. Bruce had a plan to escape after the attack. Investigators found plane tickets and cash at his home, suggesting he intended to flee to Canada. However, he suffered severe burns during the fire, making his escape impossible. Instead, he drove to his brother's house and ended his life. The massacre's setting adds to its horror. Christmas Eve, a time of love and togetherness, became the backdrop for unimaginable violence. Bruce's Santa suit made the crime even more haunting, forever staining the symbol of holiday joy for those involved. Next, we dive into a bank robbery that turned Santa's suit into a criminal disguise. Bank robberies are usually bold, but the 1927 Texas heist had an unbelievable twist. The criminal wore a Santa suit. This is the shocking tale of Marshall Ratliff, who turned a festive symbol into the disguise for one of history's wildest crimes. On December 23, 1927, just before Christmas, Ratliff hatched his plan. He decided to rob the First National Bank in Cisco, Texas, dressed as Santa Claus. His goal was to avoid suspicion. The cheerful costume seemed perfect for blending in. Ratliff didn't act alone. He teamed up with Henry Helms, Robert Hill, and Lewis Davis. Together, they walked into the crowded bank. Ratliff, dressed as Santa, waved at children and greeted bystanders. It seemed innocent, but trouble was about to unfold. Once inside, Ratliff dropped the act. Guns were drawn and chaos took over. The gang forced bank employees to hand over money. Frightened customers were held hostage as the robbers filled their bags with cash. Outside, things were spiraling out of control. A witness had spotted the suspicious group and alerted the police. Soon, officers and armed locals surrounded the bank. When the robbers tried to leave, a fierce gunfight erupted. Bullets shattered windows, and the streets filled with panic. 2 police officers lost their lives in the crossfire. Louis Davis, one of the robbers, was also badly injured. The gang managed to escape in the chaos, but their freedom didn't last long. A massive manhunt followed, with hundreds of armed citizens joining law enforcement. It became the largest search effort in Texas history. One by one, the robbers were captured. Marshall Ratliff faced trial and was sentenced to death for his crimes. But his story didn't end there. In 1929, an angry mob stormed the jail where he was being held. They dragged him out and lynched him, delivering their own justice. The 1927 bank heist shocked the nation. The Santa disguise made the crime unforgettable. A figure of joy had been used for terror, leaving a bitter memory for the holiday season. Even decades later, the thought of Santa robbing a bank remains both chilling and bizarre. Now let's uncover the bizarre tale of a Santa who didn't spread cheer but stole cash. Bank robberies are rarely boring, but the 2009 Nashville heist was unforgettable. A man dressed as Santa Claus pulled off a shocking robbery that left people baffled. It happened in December, just before the holidays. A man in a full Santa suit walked into the SunTrust Bank in Nashville, Tennessee. At first, customers and employees thought he was spreading holiday cheer. But things quickly took a dark turn. He pulled out a gun and demanded cash from the stunned bank tellers. Fear swept through the bank as employees hurried to hand over the money. Santa stuffed the cash into his bag and made a quick exit. Witnesses outside saw him jump into a gray car and speed away. The sight of a fleeing Santa armed with a gun left everyone speechless. Police got to work immediately. They searched for the getaway car and reviewed security footage. Despite their efforts, Santa seemed to vanish into thin air. Months later, the story took another bizarre turn. The same man struck again, but this time he ditched the Santa suit for a new look. He dressed as a leprechaun for his next robbery. The green outfit and hat added another layer of absurdity to his crimes. The unusual disguises made him stand out, and it wasn't long before police connected the two robberies. Witness tips helped investigators identify the man. His pattern of wearing outrageous costumes became the key to his arrest. Eventually, the man was caught and charged for both crimes. The odd choice of disguises earned him notoriety as one of the most unusual bank robbers in history. The 2009 Nashville robbery stands out not just for its holiday timing, but for its surreal twists. A Santa suit, a leprechaun outfit, and a trail of bold robberies turned this case into something that sounds more like a movie plot than real life. For those who witnessed it, the image of Santa robbing a bank and escaping in a car remains unforgettable. Moving on, here's a New Year's Eve tragedy that turned a festive night into terror. New Year's Eve is meant for joy, but in 2016, it turned into a nightmare in Istanbul. At the Reina nightclub, a gunman in a Santa suit carried out a horrifying attack. It happened just minutes into 2017. Reina, a famous nightclub by the Bosporus, was packed with 600 people. They were celebrating the new year, unaware of the danger approaching. Suddenly, the gunman stormed in, armed with an automatic rifle. Without warning, he began firing at the crowd. Chaos erupted. Partygoers screamed and ran for their lives. Some tried to hide under tables, while others jumped into the freezing Bosporus to escape. The gunfire continued, leaving devastation in its wake. By the time the shooting stopped, 39 people were dead. Over 70 others were injured. Many of the victims were foreign tourists, making this tragedy felt around the world. The nightclub, once a place of celebration, became a scene of unimaginable grief. The gunman managed to escape that night. A massive manhunt followed, and weeks later, Turkish authorities captured Abdulkadir Masharipov. Investigators found that he had ties to the Islamic State, which claimed responsibility for the attack. They said it was retaliation for Turkey's military operations in Syria. The use of a Santa suit made the attack even more disturbing. What should have been a symbol of happiness was used to disguise terror. It shocked people, adding to the fear and confusion of the night. This attack exposed how vulnerable crowded places can be during celebrations. Security in Turkey was tightened after the tragedy, but the memory of that night still lingers. The Istanbul nightclub shooting remains a haunting reminder of how a moment of joy can be destroyed in an instant. For those who were there, New Year's Eve will never feel the same again. This story takes an even darker turn, with a Santa who betrayed the trust of families. In 2024, North Carolina was shaken by the arrest of Bevier Hasbrook Slight. At 78 years old, Slight was a man once celebrated for his role as a Santa impersonator at local events. Behind the cheerful facade, however, was a disturbing truth that shocked the community. Slight was charged with multiple counts of child abuse with allegations spanning decades. Investigators discovered that he had used his role as Santa to gain the trust of families and children. He hid behind the spirit of the season, using it as a cover to avoid suspicion. As the investigation deepened, the story grew even darker. Authorities uncovered evidence suggesting Slight's ties to a child trafficking ring. While details are still emerging, it's believed that he exploited the connections he made as a community figure to facilitate these crimes. For the people of his town, the revelations were devastating. Slight had long been seen as a friendly and trustworthy figure, someone who brought joy to holiday celebrations. Parents who once brought their children to sit on his lap were left horrified and betrayed. Law enforcement explained how careful investigation led to his arrest. Tips from former victims and witnesses pushed them to look into Slight's past. What they found was chilling: photographs and other evidence directly linking him to abusive acts. The case has reignited conversations about child safety. Advocates stress the need for strict background checks, especially for people working closely with children in roles like Santa impersonators. These positions often create a natural sense of trust, which can be exploited by predators. Slight remains in custody while the investigation continues. Authorities are encouraging more victims to come forward and are providing resources to help those affected by his crimes. The town's holiday spirit has been overshadowed by a deep sense of mistrust and caution. This case highlights a harsh reality. Predators can hide behind trusted roles and manipulate their communities. While the charges against Slight are horrifying, they serve as a powerful reminder of the need to stay vigilant. Before we continue on, if you are enjoying the stories so far, please remember to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you don't like it, let me know down in the comments. Your support truly means everything. Alright, back to the video. Up next is a smuggling scheme that gave Santa dolls a shocking hidden purpose. In 2022, a shocking discovery at JFK Airport turned a holiday symbol into a tool for crime. Adderley Rafael Santos Familia was caught trying to smuggle cocaine inside stuffed Santa Claus dolls. The case exposed how far smugglers will go to avoid detection, even using festive imagery. It all started when Santos Familia arrived on a flight from the Dominican Republic. Among his luggage were several plush Santa dolls. At first glance, they seemed harmless and cheerful, but customs officials noticed his nervous behavior. They decided to take a closer look. During the search, officers made a startling find. The dolls were not just stuffed with padding. Hidden inside were tightly wrapped packets of cocaine. Altogether, the drugs weighed nearly 5 pounds, with a street value in the hundreds of thousands. Santos Familia was arrested on the spot and charged with drug trafficking. Investigators soon learned he was part of a larger smuggling ring. The choice to use Santa dolls was no coincidence. Smugglers hoped the holiday season would provide cover, as such items might not raise suspicion. The discovery grabbed headlines. It wasn't just the amount of drugs that shocked people. It was the use of Santa dolls, a symbol of joy and innocence, as a hiding place for illegal substances. The case also highlighted the lengths criminals will go to in their schemes. Santos Familia later pleaded guilty to his charges. During his trial, he cooperated with authorities, sharing details about the smuggling operation. His willingness to provide information earned him a reduced sentence. This decision sparked debates about whether leniency was appropriate in such serious crimes. The case served as a wake-up call for customs officials. Smugglers are constantly adapting, using new and creative methods to bypass security. For law enforcement, this discovery reinforced the need for vigilance, even when dealing with seemingly innocent items. Public reaction to the case ranged from outrage to disbelief. Many were shocked by how a beloved holiday icon was turned into a tool for illegal activity. The incident also reminded people that crime can hide in plain sight, even in the most unexpected forms. The cocaine-stuffed Santa dolls became a cautionary tale. It showed how smugglers exploit symbols of trust and celebration to further their schemes. For Santos Familia, the plan backfired, leading to legal trouble and a spotlight on the darker side of the holiday season. Here's a shocking case of a mall Santa who traded kindness for violence. The holiday season in Hartford, Connecticut, took a shocking turn when a mall Santa attacked a 74-year-old woman with a wooden plank. The incident happened outside a busy shopping center, leaving witnesses horrified and authorities scrambling for answers. It all started with an argument. Dressed as Santa, the man accused the elderly woman of stealing Hershey's Kisses from him. Instead of resolving the situation calmly or calling security, he grabbed a 2x4 plank. Things escalated quickly. In front of stunned onlookers, Santa chased the woman down. When he caught up to her, he struck her in the face, knocking her to the ground. People nearby called the police as they watched in disbelief. When officers arrived, they questioned witnesses and looked into the alleged theft. However, they found no evidence that the woman had stolen anything. The focus shifted to the unprovoked attack. The victim, who had visible injuries, was rushed to the hospital for treatment. Police arrested the man on the spot. He was charged with aggravated assault, a serious crime given the circumstances. Officers described the incident as an extreme overreaction, with no justification for the violence. The attack quickly made headlines, shocking both the local community and people beyond Hartford. Many struggled to reconcile the actions of someone portraying Santa Claus, a figure known for kindness, with such a brutal act. Questions were raised about how the man had been hired to play such an important role. Residents called for better background checks and stricter screening for public-facing positions. Some speculated that the man may have been under significant stress, highlighting the need for mental health support in high-pressure jobs. The shopping center faced criticism for its hiring practices. At the same time, the community rallied around the elderly woman, prioritizing her recovery and safety. This bizarre event serves as a grim reminder that appearances can be deceiving. A figure like Santa Claus, meant to spread joy, became the center of a violent and unsettling episode. The Hartford Santa attack is a cautionary tale, emphasizing the need for accountability and ensuring that those in trusted roles truly embody the values they represent. Let's look at a disturbing moment when a fake Santa shattered the holiday spirit. At Rockingham Park Mall in Massachusetts, the holiday cheer took a disturbing turn. A man dressed as Santa Claus shocked the community by committing an act of public indecency. He was not part of any official mall event, but had chosen the busy holiday season to blend in and carry out his crime. The incident happened when the man, wearing a full Santa suit, approached two teenage girls walking through the mall. Without any warning, he exposed himself to them. The teenagers, horrified and shaken, immediately reported what happened to mall security. Security acted quickly. They detained the man on the spot and called the police. Officers arrived soon after and arrested him for indecent exposure. The quick response ensured he could not escape or approach anyone else. It became clear that the man was not a professional Santa or connected to the mall's events. He had no reason to be dressed as Santa Claus other than to carry out his disturbing actions. Witnesses later described him as being in his 40s or 50s, which only added to the discomfort surrounding the situation. The crime shocked everyone at the mall. Families who had come to enjoy the holiday decorations and shop for Christmas gifts were left feeling uneasy. Santa, a figure of joy and innocence, had been used as a disguise for something deeply unsettling. Parents were especially concerned. Many questioned how someone could so easily impersonate Santa and go unnoticed. The mall faced backlash for not having stricter security measures, even for people casually dressed as the holiday icon. The incident also sparked wider discussions about public safety during the holidays. Malls are often crowded with families, and predators can use the chaos to their advantage. Parents called for better precautions to ensure public spaces remain safe, especially for children. As the investigation continued, police looked into whether the man had a history of similar behavior. Mall management promised to review their security protocols to prevent such incidents in the future. Now, a chilling case of a Santa disguise hiding dangerous intentions. In a shocking incident, a man dressed as Santa Claus tried to abduct a 12-year-old girl. The man, Anthony Russo, had been lurking near a bus stop with candy canes and a strange prop, a unicycle decorated with jingle bells. His plan was to lure a child using holiday cheer and sweets. Russo's target was a young girl walking to school. As she passed by, he jumped from his hiding spot and grabbed her. But the girl, quick thinking and brave, managed to break free. She ran, shouting for help, and found safety before anything worse could happen. Her escape was critical. She immediately reported the incident and police launched a search for the man. It didn't take long for authorities to locate Russo. He had tried to flee the area, likely hoping to blend in with the holiday crowds. When police arrested him, they found his bizarre tools, the unicycle and candy canes. His Santa suit made the crime even more unsettling. People wondered why someone dressed as a symbol of joy and trust would commit such an act. The community was left stunned. Santa Claus is a figure associated with kindness and happiness, especially for children. Seeing that image tied to such a disturbing crime was hard to process. It served as a chilling reminder that predators can hide behind innocent disguises. The girl's bravery and quick thinking prevented a tragedy. Police praised her actions and reminded parents to talk to their children about staying alert. Russo was charged with attempted kidnapping, and investigators continued to look into his motives. This incident sparked important conversations about safety. People called for more awareness, even in environments that seem safe or familiar. It showed that danger can appear in the most unexpected forms. For many in the community, the idea of Santa Claus will never be the same. What should have been a symbol of joy was used as a cover for something sinister. This case is a powerful reminder to stay vigilant, even during the holiday season. Finally, we have a chaotic outburst from a Santa who left kids more terrified than joyful. A quiet neighborhood was thrown into chaos when a man dressed as Santa Claus stumbled through the streets, yelling and causing a scene. What should have been a festive evening turned unsettling for parents and kids alike. The man, later identified as Tom Arnold, was clearly intoxicated. He wandered around, shouting at children and asking bizarre questions. Witnesses said he kept yelling,
"Have you seen my reindeer? Call me if you see them."
His loud, erratic behavior alarmed everyone nearby. Parents quickly grew concerned. Tina Reinhardt, a mother in the neighborhood, said the man's outbursts made everyone uneasy. Children who had gathered to enjoy the holiday decorations were left confused and frightened. 9-year-old Katie Doherty, one of the kids who witnessed the chaos, quickly realized something was wrong. She noticed the man smelled like alcohol and didn't act like the Santa she knew. Her observation confirmed to many that this wasn't the jolly figure they admired. The situation escalated as Arnold continued to yell and stumble through the streets. Parents hurried to remove their kids from the area, worried about what might happen next. The joyful mood of the evening was replaced with fear and confusion. Police arrived shortly after the disturbance was reported. Arnold was arrested on charges of drunk and disorderly conduct. Officers believed he had been drinking at a holiday party before showing up in the neighborhood. While they didn't think he meant any harm, his behavior left a lasting impression. For the children, the sight of a drunken Santa was jarring. Santa Claus is supposed to represent joy and kindness, not chaos and fear. Many parents expressed frustration, saying the incident had ruined the holiday magic for their kids. The neighborhood struggled to shake off the experience. The once cheerful image of Santa was now tainted by the actions of one reckless man. What should have been a time for creating happy memories became a cautionary tale. This bizarre event highlights how easily the holiday spirit can be disrupted. For many in the neighborhood, The real Santa remains a symbol of joy, but the image of this drunken Santa will be hard to forget. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, then check out these videos on the screen now. If you have a topic suggestion, please send it to the email in the description. And as always, remember to like, comment, share the video, and subscribe to our channel. And remember, the only thing scarier than these stories is missing out on our next video.